Hello, everyone. Welcome to Housing and Residence Life at Virginia Tech. My name is Matt Kwiatkowski, and I serve as one of the associate directors. And I'm also joined here today with my colleague, who I will let her introduce herself.
Hi, everyone. My name is Chelsea Lambassa, and I'm the associate director for housing services.
So we are excited to join with you today. Obviously, we wish we were able to join you in person, but so glad we are able to do this venue. As we get started this morning, it's going to be a quick 25 minutes, but we did want to offer a few just logistics before we get going about the Zoom platform. So first, you'll notice that you all are muted, and that's intentional because we do have a large group today. So if you do have specific questions, you can utilize the chat feature and you can ask questions at any time throughout this presentation. We do have some other staff members who are on the line who will be able to answer questions as we're talking. And then we will also leave some time towards the end of the presentation, again, for more questions and more answers through the chat feature. Okay, so we are going ahead and get started with a brief video that I will pull up. A second here. Actually, I do think we need to restart that. Some technical difficulties I'm seeing on my end. I do apologize about that. Okay, should be working now.
Okay, so we're going to talk about some benefits to living on campus. Living on campus provides you the opportunity to be right in the middle of everything. We are close to all the different academic amenities and resources, like the library, the writing center, the residence halls, the dining halls. All of them are all intermixed. And then right across our drill field is where most of the academic buildings are. On campus, we have 1/3 of our students that live in our residence halls are in living learning programs. So they're engaged in a different style of community that can help make Virginia Tech feel a little bit more like home, with students with similar interests or majors as you. We have hall events and activities so you can meet others within the residence halls. We have also leadership opportunities in our residence halls, so you can join hall council and help make decisions for your residence hall or become an RA, a resident assistant. And there's also informal ways to become leaders within our residence halls. You can just really try to be a leader among your peers and your fellow hallmates. In each residence hall, we have laundry, vending machines, rec spaces, Wi-Fi, cable, and one of our residence halls also has a dining center in it. So.
All right, so next we are going to be talking about the choice that students at Virginia Tech really have when it comes to on-campus living. So we have an initiative called Experience VT, and a large part of that is student choice. And one of the first choices that students have to make is whether or not they want to be in a living learning program or go to general assignment housing. And so we're going to explain a little bit more about what those options are. First, our living learning programs. So what is a living learning program? These programs are specialized niche communities that are located within our residence halls. In some cases, they take up a specific floor, and in other cases, it might be the entire building, depending upon the size. So these communities, students have they might have a common major, or they might just have a common interest. So you'll see as we go through each of them that many of them are not major specific, but some of them definitely are major specific. We have 16 across campus, and they run the range of disciplinary to very, very interdisciplinary. So what are the benefits of being in a living learning program? There are several that we point to immediately. The first piece is community. So as I mentioned, those communities are located in various parts of our residential system. And so they help to create a little bit more of a smaller community among a larger community. We have, if we didn't say so already, about 9,500 students that live on campus. So it does help to create a smaller niche. Second is mentorship. So in all of our living learning programs, there is some ratio of upper division students. So sophomores, juniors, and even in some cases, seniors who come back and return to the community year after year because they want to take on greater leadership and they want to give back to first year students. So there's students who are in your shoes, who were in your shoes. The third opportunity is space. Many of our facilities with living learning programs do have niche spaces that were created for them, whether it's a maker space or an art studio. And some of our buildings too, such as Ambler Johnston and O'Shaughnessy, have had full renovations. The third piece is faculty interaction. So this is perhaps most interesting in our residential colleges. We have 3 residential colleges that we'll talk a little bit more about, where faculty actually live in the building. These are faculty who have chosen to live their lives with and among students. As well, all of our programs have associated faculty who they bring in for guest lectures, as visiting scholars, and a variety of different ways. And the last benefit that we point to is academic success. So all of our communities do offer some type of formal or informal opportunities for students to gather, to form study groups. As well, what we find generally from our institutional research is that students who are in living learning programs on average do have a higher GPA than students who are not in living learning programs. And so now we're going to go into a little bit more detail about each one of them. And you can also find out more at our website, llc.vt.edu. But I'm going to go through each one and just share very basic information. So what you'll see on the screen is we've grouped everything by themes, and I'll tell you the names that are associated with those communities. So if you are thinking you might be interested in arts and creativity, Studio 72 could be a great option. This is for any student who's interested in the arts, whether that be theater, music, visual, and Studio 72 accepts students from all majors. Second, if you are interested in the Corps of Cadets, clearly a historic institution in of itself here at Virginia Tech for military style leadership. They do also have a citizen leader track. The application process is different for the Corps of Cadets. So please go to vtcc.vt.edu if you are interested in the Corps. For cultural identity, this is most lived out readily in our Ujima community. Ujima is for any student who is really interested in understanding and supporting the African-American experience. And again, this community does accept students from all majors. If you are in the College of Engineering, there is a community for you for other engineers. Galileo and its counterpart, Hypatia, are 2 communities located in Lee Hall. And the only eligibility requirement there is that you are in the College of Engineering. So this provides a great transitional experience for our Hokie engineers. If you're interested in entrepreneurship, Innovate might be a good opportunity for you, run through our Apex Center out of the Pamplin College of Business. Is for any student in any major who might be interested in just expanding their information and knowledge related to entrepreneurship. It could be in the context of a business or not, so there's multiple options there. Honors, we actually have two communities. If you are have been accepted into the Honors College, you can choose between Hillcrest or the Honors Residential Commons if you want to live with other honors students. Two of the differences between those, so particularly for the Honors Residential Commons, we do ask students to commit to a 2-year live-on requirement for that community. And that's really to get a jump start on that mentorship that we mentioned earlier. And the second piece is that in the HRC is one of the 3 communities where we do have that live-in faculty principal, who his name is Dr. Pablo Terrazaga, and he lives there with his family, and he guides the growth and the exciting things to come from that community. If you're interested in languages and global learning, Mosaico could be a good fit. So Mosaico focuses specifically on language practice with students living in different language houses, and also global and cultural engagement if you're interested in learning about different global cultures. Mosaico is open to students in any major. Okay, up towards the next column. If you're interested in learning more about leadership, but specifically through the lens of social change and also civic engagement, the Leadership and Social Change Residential College is an opportunity. Because it is a residential college, it does have that 2-year requirement that I mentioned earlier with the HRC. It is also led by a faculty principal, Dr. C.L. Bohannon, and it is open to students of any major. The next is the Residential College at West Ambler Johnston. West AJ has a really great motto of be together, not the same, where students are grouped into 4 different houses for a truly interdisciplinary immersive experience. Here, students again can be from any major to be in this residential college, and it's led by a live-in faculty principal named Dr. Donna Agmon, and also has the 2-year requirement. Next, personal growth. If you are looking to transition here to Virginia Tech as a first-year student and focusing a bit on your personal and your personal success and the success of others in your community, Thrive could be a great fit. This is done through leveraging your own personal strengths. And Thrive is also open to students of all majors. Next is the sciences. So this is lived out in our Orion Living Learning community. This is one of those communities that does have some eligibility. So there are over 35 eligible majors across 3 academic colleges that you can be eligible for to be in Orion. And those are all located on our website. But this is a great experience for students who are in those science-related majors to learn more and to grow deeper in those competencies. Transfer students, if there are any of you out there who are transfer students, we do have a community called the Transfer Experience LLC that is just for you. It's a transitional experience for transfers, and so that is the only eligibility requirement. University studies, the one thing that I want to mention here, this community is called VIA, and it is for university studies majors, but it is also for any student in an academic college who is under an exploratory major. So the really important thing about VIA is that this community helps students to get to a point where they have a degree granting major. And there are different events and opportunities that help students get to that place. And then the only eligibility for that is, again, university studies or exploratory major. And then lastly, if you're interested in wellness and well-being, there is Meraki. Meraki focuses on holistic well-being through the 6 dimensions of well-being, and it also includes students from all majors. So as you can see, we do have a wide range of opportunities here at Virginia Tech that are not solely just major-based. So please do check out how you can apply at llc.vt.edu, and we're also going to talk a little bit about that at the end of the presentation.
So now we're going to talk about general assignment housing. So we also have residence halls on campus that can help you experience VT through a variety of different ways, such as roommate conversations, weekly hangouts with your fellow students, one-on-one conversations with peer leaders and hall activities and meetings that are meant to bring everyone together and provide important updates about living on campus. A leadership role that you may want to consider here is being a member of your hall council, which plans events and helps advocates for changes on campus and within our residence halls. Another facet to consider when you are going through the housing process is the type of room you want to live in. If you choose a living learning program, your building and room style will be one less thing to consider. But if you don't, you may want to think about these different options. So we have our traditional style. Our traditional style room is our most prevalent type of room. It is a double occupancy room, which shares a bathroom with others on the hallway. And almost all of these rooms have a sink in the room. So here you can see their traditional style and see that on the corner is where the shared bathroom is. And then there's the traditional double occupancy rooms all around it. On the right-hand side of our presentation, you can see all the different residence halls that have traditional style. Traditional style does make up about 60 to 70% of our rooms on campus. Next up, we have suite style. These share a semi-private bathroom with either one other room or up to 5 other rooms. So our suites are anywhere from 4 to 10 residents. Our 10 resident suites have 2 restrooms or double toilets or double showers in them. Here's some examples of suites. You have a 3-room suite at the top and a double room suite at the bottom. And then on the right-hand side are some of our residence halls with suites in them. But typically our most common suite is a 3-room suite with a common living room and a bathroom. Finally, we have our private bath residence hall room. These are our least prevalent option on campus. So this is typically 2 to 3 people per room with a private bathroom. Majority of these rooms are standard doubles, but we have a residence hall that is standard triples because it is larger space with those private baths. We have a number of these across campus. These are very popular though with our returning students. So a majority of our freshmen are not in these rooms by any means. And then last but not least, we have some single room options, but we just want to share that those are extremely uncommon. We only have 13 designated singles across all of campus that are available to undergraduate students. So next steps, everyone wants to know, like, what do I do next? So once you decide you want to be a Hokie, you will pay your $400 matriculation fee. After you pay that, you're going to set up your PID, your password, your email, all of the fun stuff. And then you're going to wait 48 to 72 hours and you can log into our STARS housing portal and you'll complete your housing contract. It's very important to complete your housing contract as soon as you're able because your housing assignments is done in the date and time that you do sign your housing contract. In the housing contract is where you also can apply to live in living learning programs. You also, after you sign your housing contract, you're able to search for roommates. You can look for roommates in specific living learning programs or with similar interests or bedtimes or different preferences of noise or study habits. Again, though, you can go in, you sign your contract, and then you can always go back and fill out the living learning application. You can re-log in as many times as you want, and you can decide, oh, you applied to one the first time, but you've now decided you want to apply to 2 others. Again, you can apply up to 3 living learning programs at a time. You can always remove a living learning program if you decide that one's not for you and you want to apply to a different one. So it's really a fluid process, but the most important thing is to sign that housing contract. After signing that housing contract this summer, you're going to get an email. So make sure you always pay attention to your Virginia Tech email. That email is going to give you a time slot. During that time slot is when you log into the STARS portal and you're going to physically choose your room for next year. So if you're in a living learning program, assignments are done first for living learning programs. Those will happen in June. So you'll get to choose where you live then. And then if you are general assignment, we'll go again in housing contract order after we finish the living learning program process, which typically is late June through mid-July. That process occurs. So you'll go in, you'll see all the rooms that are available to you at that time, and then you'll choose your spot. If you have a roommate and you're in a roommate group, you need to make sure, one, you choose an empty room, but then you'll place yourself in bed 1, and you'll place your roommate in bed 2, and you'll lock them in, you'll hit submit, and you'll be done. And then after all of that, you can choose your meal plan, because if you haven't seen that session yet, our food here is amazing. See if we missed any questions that popped in.
All right, well, thank you. We have about 5 minutes, so we will look at questions now for the remaining amount of time. If you don't have any questions, you are free to hop off to
Okay.
go on to your next. Again, you are all more than welcome to stay on as we answer some questions.
So I can answer one of these questions. Our freshmen, our first years, they live in all of our residence halls. The only halls that our first years do not live in is our Greek housing. And that's typically because they're not a member of that Greek organization at that time. Out of our 47 residence halls, the Greek housing is 17 of them. So our freshmen live in the other 30 all throughout.
Another question about how often do upper class students live off campus? So currently at Virginia Tech, we house about 9,500 students on campus. So that's about a third of the total Virginia Tech population that we can host on campus. Obviously, that's required for first year students. And then we do have a number of particularly sophomores who decide to return. So it definitely goes, declines by year, but definitely there are opportunities for upper division students to live every year if they want to.
So majority of our upperclassmen that live on campus are in the core of cadets, our living learning programs, or our Greek housing is where you find a lot of our upperclassmen, but we also have upperclassmen that are traditional general assignment students that get their spot through the housing lottery. I saw a question about if you already have a roommate group, you have to choose a room together. If you're in a roommate group, you would live together because that's what I would think you're trying to do as a roommate group. But if you decide like right before the housing assignment process that you don't want to live with that roommate that you're in a roommate group with, you can leave the roommate group and do your housing assignment as yourself as the individual. Can you choose your suite mates? No, you just choose you and your roommate. But you can tell your friends like, hey, I'm in Harper 2020, come join me in the suite. And your friends, when they get their time slot, can try to join you. But again, time slots are done in contract order. So it would be ideal that you and your friends have signed a contract around a similar time. How are roommate assignments made in LLCs? Just like general assignment, you can choose your roommate in an LLC. Your roommate, though, has to be within the LLC too. Which LLC is in Harper? Mosaico is in Harper. Room selection is through the StarRes portal. So you're going to get really friendly with the StarRes portal over your next 4, 5, 6 years. That's where you do your housing, your dining, you choose your rooms, you can apply for LLPs. That's how you register to say that you're going to be here on breaks. So it's definitely a hot spot and a place to get used to.
I see a question about if you don't have enough space for first year students to live on campus, where will they be placed? We will mostly always, we always strive to have that room. This year was obviously an anomaly year where we did have to acquire 2 hotels in order to house students. We don't anticipate that we will need to do that again. And so our goal is always to have space where students are on campus.
Yes, you choose your room and your residence hall at the same time when you are seeing all the open rooms. So you are going to log in, you'll see a list of the residence halls. You click on which residence halls you're interested in. Underneath the residence halls, it shows you what rooms are available, and then you're going to physically choose your room. So once you do that, you'll know exactly where you're living, room and residence hall. At this time, we do not know about an online fall start. If we do, the university will make that announcement and address those types of concerns. If you're accepted into LLC, can you change your mind? So the process is you apply to the LLC, you either get offered or denied. If you get an offer, you then have the opportunity to accept that offer or deny that offer. Once you accept that offer, though, it is a little bit more difficult to get out of the living learning program. That would require a discussion between you and that living learning program on why you would like to leave at that point.
I saw a question a bit further back that I'm not sure was answered. It says, do you choose your residence hall the same time you find an open room in late June, mid-July? So if you are in a living learning program, your specific residence hall, the building, is actually already chosen for you because living learning programs live in specific places on campus. But if you are in general assignment, then yes, you will at the same time choose the building you want to live in and the specific room that you want.
So as a roommate pair, whoever has the earliest contract sign date should be the roommate group leader, to answer Taylor's question. So if you sign your contract first before your roommate, you should be the roommate group leader, because then you will be choosing the room based on your housing contract sign date. If you're not in a roommate group, will a roommate be assigned to me? Not typically, Nick. So what happens is you will either go in and choose an empty room and see who chooses that room and joins you, or you will go in and choose a room that one person's already in it. You can read their profile, see if you feel like it's a match, say no, not for me, go to the next person, read their profile and be like, oh, that sounds like a good match for me. And then you would be placing yourself in that room. And then you could message that student and say, hey, like, I'm your roommate for the fall. It's so nice to meet you, and get to know them that way. How do I find a roommate? So there's a few different ways you can find a roommate. One is through Staris. So you can search on different preferences. You can read the paragraph that you write about yourself. You can see what LLP they're in, different things like that. Another option that we know students do to find roommate groups is they go to the Virginia Tech Class Of page on Facebook, and they will find roommates through that group. But really, however you find a roommate is completely up to you. I do recommend the Staris portal because it can show you if that person is a good match. And also sometimes people find each other outside of the Staris portal and they learn that they're not in the same living learning program, or one's in the core, one's not. And to be able to live together, you have to be in the same type of housing or program.
Okay, so we have about 3 minutes until the next Zoom time at 9:30. So if we did not get to your question, we do apologize, but please utilize our resources. So you can email us anytime at housing@vt.edu for housing specific questions. For living learning programs, you can email us at livinglearning@vt.edu. And then you can also definitely check out our websites, housing.vt.edu, llc.vt.edu, and call our main line as well at 540-231-6205. So thank you all so much for your time today, and we really hope that you have a wonderful rest of your day.